Because also, unlike most companies, they make their products in a linear fashion throughout the year. What I've done is I really like to make these Today Specials have exceptional savings. So we have the burden of making most of a product in a period of 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
That's why this facility has to be so big. So when we did our Ultimate Eye Today special, literally we had to make somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 60 million capsules of Ultimate Eye in a couple of weeks. So, and this is one of the capsule machines that it's like a machine that I ran for years.
This is where it all started.
Yeah, I was running my own capsules back in 1979. And so I stood in front of these machines for years. And using multiple sets of rings, I've explained how they work. Where this is a hopper that holds capsules, this is a hopper that holds powder. So what you need to do is the capsules are delivered to you and they're closed. You need to get them open. So this rectifies the capsules so they're all facing the same way. Then you remove the rings from here and you separate the rings. And you actually take the open side of the rings there. So the rings are now separated.
Yes.
You move this hopper over. Oops. Has to be in place. You move the hopper over, you mount it on that little pin. You move the hopper over, and it's going to fill with powder.
Wow.
And then you take, once it's filled with powder, you put the rings back together again. And then once the rings are back together, you'll put them in this closing station, the way those rings are there. And the pins will push down. You can sort of see the pins in there, if we move this out. Those,
I see it.
Those pins push on each of the individual capsules and seal them up. And that's how you make capsules. And then what you do is afterwards, then you do that and you eject the capsules down.
So who taught you how to do that?
Oh, this is back, I was at a friend of mine had a facility and I was doing some consulting for him and talking to doctors on his behalf and doing some education for him. And he let me come in and run his machines and make my own product back in 1979. Oh, so that's how it all started. So, and then we created our own facility after that. So it was hard to believe.
That's how it began?
It was 38 years ago. Oh. And here we are 38 years later, and would have never in a million years dreamed that this could be our facility. It's better than I would ever have dreamed having. I don't think there's another facility like it anywhere in the world. In terms of all of the newness of all the equipment, everything is stainless steel equipment. We do everything as if we were making the most sophisticated pharmaceutical products, even though none of my products are drugs or pharmaceutical products.
Wow. Well, it's always a joy to be able to take a tour, to understand and see everything in action. It is a remarkable, remarkable thing. I mean, you must be very proud.
I am, well, it's almost, I don't have enough time to take a deep breath and be proud. When I read the reviews, I'm proud of the reviews, I'm proud of the experience people have with the products. But again, I think it goes back to what my parents said in that whole Satchel Paige quote. I probably don't stop long enough to take great pride in it. I'm proud to show this facility off because I think in so doing, it gives you greater confidence in what we provide. And what we provide is a level of efficacy and a level of trust that isn't available when you're purchasing products in stores. You don't get to see where those products are made. And we make sure that everything about what we do, from our labels being full disclosure to just my availability to answer questions, that I've talked about this the other day, that we have a customer care center that in the day of the internet, they've been going away and fewer people are available to answer phones. We have more people in our customer care center than ever before. Wow. And that's simply because we want to make sure that we're available to answer all your questions or your doctor's questions if they have questions. Are we supposed to be at that table? Or?
We walked to the wrong table, Andrew. That's
my goodness.
fault.
Well, it was one of two.
50-50 chance. We're in Vegas. I gambled on the wrong one.
Flip a coin.
So let's go to Ultimate Friendly Flora. If you've watched any of Andrew's shows in the past that I've had the privilege of presenting, you'll know I feel very strongly about this product. There's a lot of us, Andrew, who struggle a lot with our digestion.
And most of us don't realize that when we think about these microorganisms, the friendly flora in our world and in our lives, there's actually more of those friendly organisms, or should be, than we have cells in our body. Unfortunately, so much of what we do, the way we live, again, it's sort of our modern lifestyle. Our modern lifestyle bears very little resemblance in terms of how we live, what we do, how we eat, what we eat, bears very little resemblance to what we were designed to experience. We are such a capable being, such a capable organism, that we have transformed our world. I mean, and we're literally transforming the planet. So unfortunately, with transforming our world, we live in a way that doesn't really favor our best health, that doesn't favor the best function of our digestive system. So whether it's all the things that the digestive issues and problems we might have that forces us to take drugs or medications or other issues, those drugs and medications undermine the population of friendly flora in our digestive system. It should go without saying then that our digestive system isn't going to work well.
Right.
Because a healthy digestive system requires friendly flora. So whether it's nutrient absorption or just simply the comfortable passage of food through our body, friendly flora is an absolute must. Again, this is a product that is virtually perfectly reviewed. We originally started with a product called Friendly Flora. Then we came up with our Ultimate Friendly Flora. What we did here is we simply increased the potency. Our Friendly Flora is 5 billion colony-forming units. Our Ultimate Friendly Flora is 25 billion colony-forming units per capsule. 25 billion, I think there are, what, 7 billion people on the planet?
Right.
So 25 billion is a large number, and 25 billion is a good standard number for a friendly flora product. 5 billion is as well, and the bargain is that with our Ultimate Friendly Flora, it's just as a little bit more than twice as expensive, and you get 5 times as much potency.
So then where do we go with Digest Assure?